Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Bread-a-licious. Today, the Italian artisan bread known as focaccia. So, get oiled up, get out your ingredients, get out your digital scales, and let's get cooking, y'all. Alright everyone, today we're going to learn how to make a starter. You've probably heard of the Irish soda bread, you've heard of sourdough, but those are two small slivers of a very large world of bread. Today we're going to go over the biga for our focaccia, okay? For the biga, remember, you're going to want 6.4 ounces of bread flour, and whenever you're getting bread flour, be sure to get unbleached bread flour. You'll need 3.8 ounces of water. You'll also gonna need 1/8 of a teaspoon of instant dry yeast, okay? So I have the water here already. Then I add the yeast into that. Make sure the water is at room temperature. It can also be cold from the faucet, that's fine. Now you have two options. You can either take a wooden spoon and stir it. I like to get my hand in there. And I just go around. And why I like going in with my hand is I can get to the edges. The important thing of starters is they are the primary element of flavor in artisan breads. The salt is a flavor enhancer and can add its own mineral properties. That's why I like using the Celtic sea salt, especially with breads when you're only having 4 ingredients, yeast, water, flour, and salt. You want a high quality salt and typically a mineral sea salt of some kind. This gives you great flavor and development. Okay, and as you can see, it's a little jaggedy and powdery, and that's what it's supposed to look like, okay? It's gonna have that terriness. That's what you want, that's what a biga is supposed to look like. So, where you just put a lid on this. You can have a bowl with plastic wrap, but maybe do a small slit so air can escape. But you let this sit overnight, typically for at least 16 hours for flavor development. And then that way you can bake your focaccia the next day. Easy. And then after I put this down, we'll get cleaned up. I'll show you how to make the bread. We'll be right back. Okay, so now that our biga has rested overnight, we're gonna make the flour portion. We're gonna make the dough. So for the dough you will need, and be sure to take notes on this, remember in baking we have to be exact, 1 pound and 9.6 ounces of bread flour, 1 pound and 3.6 ounces of water, 1 1/4 teaspoon of yeast, and your pre-made biga, okay? So, what you do is you get this going, form a well. I'm gonna sprinkle my yeast in. That'll sort itself out. So now that we've gotten the water incorporated and the flour together, if it drizzles off to the side, fine. If you're not comfortable with going on the table, that's all right too. Grab a large bowl and get it to this point. Doesn't have to be together or anything, just somewhat there. And then you add your biga or starter. Now, a bit of advice is tear it in. Don't try to fold it in all at once. That's extra work you have to do. If you pre-tear it into smaller pieces and you're using all the biga you made, and as you can see, it's kind of relaxed. And then we go over the kneading style. So I go fold, wrist, fold, wrist. Again, don't be afraid to work with your hands. Don't be afraid about a little bit of dough. I'm gonna just do the rub. Oh yeah, therapeutic. And then you just fold it And remember, you're just incorporating it, no big deal. All right, and after you are convinced that that's gonna hold, do your power swing, get in there, get the gluten development, you're smacking it. Okay, and then you continue kneading, and remember, you can do the two-hand knead. The important thing is find a height and a countertop that's comfortable for you. Just make sure it's sturdy. You can also do the one-handed technique that I do, the nice fold round. Or you can do the arm exchange, because you are doing this for about 8 minutes. So I'm going to continue doing this, then we'll be right back. Okay, so now that we've kneaded it, I'm poking it. Not the largest spring, but that's okay. Grab a container that has a lid, but that's not too tight fitting. The other important thing is make sure the lid has a flat bottom. If you get lids and containers that have curvatures inside, it's hard to dig all that out. But you put it in a container, okay? And then you let this, what's called in baking, bulk fermentation for 3 hours. Then you fold it at the 1.5 hour mark. So I'm gonna let this sit for 3 hours, but an 1.5 hours from now, I actually fold it, okay? So I put this in. Then you come out, and that's what it looks like. So as you can see, it's gotten bubbly. Now we do what's called the tri-fold. I just get in there with my plastic scraper, and then I fold it, tri-fold over it. So I'm kind of doing a letter style folding, okay? And then I go over it a third, and then one more time. You see all those scraps in the corner? No big deal. You just get those back in there. Use your plastic scraper. It's gonna be a little sticky on you. That's perfectly natural. And then I cover it and I let it relax for another 1.5 hours. And we'll be right back. Now, a key, now that we've come back after an 1.5 hours, sometimes it expands more than this, sometimes it doesn't. That's okay. We're having to do another rise or setting anyway. I have 2 pans here. Now you're welcome to take this and do one big sheet tray loaf. Just understand that it might take more time in the oven. When you get to this stage, you want to preheat your oven to 450 degrees. This was a 2-pound batch of dough, okay? So I'm going to need roughly 1 pound each. So I'm gonna scale 1, and that's the beauty of dividing things in half, is I can just add the other half without measuring. I just measure 1/2. Focaccia, it's a little sticky. It is a wet dough, which is fine. If you run into this at this point, don't panic. You take the oil and then you rub the oil on your hands, and then the dough comes right off. So I'm gonna double check something really quickly. And now that my hands are coated with oil, it's not sticking to me, so that's a fun trick. I'm just tearing this off. A little bit more. And when you tear it, you can do a twist, pull, and turn. Okay? That's 26.5 cents. Okay. Maybe not quite so much. And if you're worried about adding the dough on the top, that does not matter. It's fine. Now I added a 1/4 cup of olive oil to the bottom. The beautiful thing about focaccia is that it bakes in the simmering oil in the oven. And now that I have this, I'm going to do an intentional kind of stretch, like that. Press it down a little bit. Same here. Okay. And then these are set. You can square it up a little bit more if you want to. Okay, no big deal. Then I'm going to let these rest for another 20 minutes. We'll be right back. Okay, so now that we've come back after 20 minutes of it finishing rising in the pan, here's what it looks like. Okay. Notice how much it has expanded and risen. Okay. The beautiful thing about focaccia is its divots. So you just plump, do some grabs. So you kind of sink in. You're not jamming it, but you are going to the bottom of the pan and jamming, okay? And then I will top it with some oil that has some rosemary in it. If you want to use rosemary, that's great. I recommend it, but I also recommend keeping dry rosemary on hand. Sometimes the markets have rosemary, but sometimes they've already started turning black and that's no good. The key is put the rosemary in some oil ahead of time by like an hour into the process so that oil gets that flavor. So I just sprinkle that rosemary oil on top. And this is extra virgin olive oil with rosemary. Very good. I'm gonna get some more rosemary on this loaf. Cool. And then I take our salt and I just do a nice sprinkle on top for extra flavor. And you want to go up, and again, you can do all these fancy things, but as you can see, salt goes everywhere. So just do a nice circular motion with the thumb. That's all you got to do, and then the salt will get on there. Our oven's preheat. We typically bake for 15 to 20 minutes, but these are smaller loaves. Let's check it at 12. So after 12 minutes, we'll come back and see how our focaccia's doing. Okay, so we've baked it for 12, checked it, needed more time, added 3 minutes, still needed more time. Now we're at an additional 4 minutes, so that is 12 plus 3 is 15, 2 then 4, about 21 minutes. For my particular oven, your oven might be different. But this is our finished focaccia loaves. I'm going to remove these from the pans. We'll let them cool for about 20 minutes and then we'll cut into them. Okay, so I removed our focaccia from the pans and let them cool for about 15 to 20 minutes. And you're welcome to go a little bit darker than this. That's fine. If your bread ever sticks to the bottom, chances are you need more olive oil on the bottom. That's okay. But this is ready to go, so let's cut into it. Okay. With focaccia, as it's served, just go in with a bread knife. Oh man, look at those beautiful holes. Look at that. Oh. I'm shaking at my own bread, and it's still steaming, and that's after letting it cool. But you can serve this with salads. You can chop up leftover focaccia and make them into croutons. It's very nice. But typically how you serve it is just kind of like this. You cut it into some manageable slices, like so. And I always love showing off the holes in bread. Look at that. And typically you can take a plate of just some olive oil, sprinkle some herbs in there. I'm going to use the Lorenzo's balsamic vinegar. It's very nice. I'm just going to drizzle that in there. It's a high quality balsamic for a high quality bread that you work so hard for. And then this way, you just dip, snack, and go. So there you have it, the Italian style bread focaccia. Until next time on Bread-a-licious, later y'all.